Well, we are into the first week of December here in the Midwest, and some might call this the December lull period. Basically, the only time in December that movement is going to be really slow. And while we've had a cold front move through here recently, we had a couple of good mornings with some hard frosts. The warm weather is going to return, and with it, the deer movement is going to get shut down again. We're coming down off the rut here, but this warm weather is keeping the deer in their bedding areas. They don't have to move yet. They don't have to get to those late season food sources yet. So right now we're just waiting on a really good cold front or that first snow to hit, and they're going to be locked on those late season food sources after that cold front hits. So right now is a really good time to back away from your hunting property, look at your tactic, reevaluate it, make some observations, so when that cold front does hit, you can go in and make your move. So in order to make these observations and get ready to make your move when the time does come, you're going to have to get into your hunting property right now, move your trail cameras around. They might have been in really good locations for the rut, but right now you need to move them specifically to catch late season bucks. It's your last chance to do it. Today we're on my 70-acre property. We have about 7 cameras spread across this property. Some of them are in really good locations for the late season, but others are still in locations for the rut, and the deer are going to start transitioning to their late season patterns, so we're going to have to move them. Some of these cards haven't been checked for 2 weeks, so we're going to check these cards, move some cameras around, and I'm going to tell you where I have my cameras on this property specifically for the late season. Now this is one of the cameras that I might want to move. It's in a really good spot for the rut. It's the same section, same sliver of timber that I killed my hitless buck Dallas out of a couple weeks back in November. But this is really an unbeatable spot for the rut. It's a sliver of timber, like I said, but it's between 2 bedding areas. So in November, during the rut, bucks were constantly in here cruising, going back and forth, scent checking for does in these bedding areas. But right now we're fading out to the late season, so is this spot. A lot of this bedding area is not really good thermal cover for the winter, so a lot of the deer are picking up and they're moving across to the other side of the property where I have my bean field, and there's better thermal cover on a south-oriented slope. So this spot's kind of fading out right now. We like to keep tabs on it. We have a couple trail cameras close by. This spot, this camera in particular, could be used elsewhere. Now this camera is probably one of the cameras that I'm not going to move, just simply due to the fact that it's on a ridge and a couple trails that leads into our buck sanctuary. It's a really good bedding area that we see a lot of bucks coming into and out of, and it's pretty close to our bean field, which is our late season food source on this property. But what you might not think about when you put trail cameras over bedding areas, especially when they're closer to food sources, is that this is a north-oriented slope, and you have to think for the late season. North-oriented slope, while it's slight right here, it's enough to keep the sun off this side, which means there's not as thick as vegetation, there's not as much sun reaching this ridge rather than a ridge with a south-oriented slope. And we do have a south-oriented ridge. It is slight again, but it's closer to the bean field, and there's more sun hitting that side, hitting that sanctuary, which ends up being thicker vegetation, which can block the wind better and allow more sunlight to hit. So it ends up being better thermal cover, as well as good late season food source in the form of woody browse with all the briars and saplings that you have over there. So we're probably going to go ahead and put that Moultrie camera that we just took off that rut funnel, and we're going to go ahead and put it in that sanctuary, probably put some more in there just to keep tabs on that sanctuary, because that's where we feel like the bucks are going to be for the late season. Well, we're now at our pride and joy, our center stage on the property, and it's our 1-acre standing bean field. And you really couldn't hold pods this late into the season on a small acreage plot like this, but we put up an electric fence and we protected these beans all summer long. I guess we got them up to about 5 feet tall, and then we let the fence down about a month before bow season so we can hunt early and kill some does out of here, fill the freezer up. We closed it up, and now we're letting the gate down again, specifically for the late season when it really counts to have food source to hunt over. But we have 3 of these cameras, 3 of these Moultrie spread out on the corners of this bean field. And we really have to, because we have, once again, so much thermal cover, so much bedding area for the winter on this south-oriented slope that surrounds this bean field, and the bucks and does could come from anywhere. So in order to get a pattern on something that we want to kill, hunt them on the right wind, we're going to have cameras set out, see where they're coming in at, see where they're going out at, so we can actually make a plan to move forward. But we just checked these cameras. We really don't have too much action on this food source yet, so we're still waiting on that cold front. You still have time to move your cameras around to spots like this. Good luck to you the rest of the season.